Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Here we go.
It's funny. Yes, good. Nearly time for holidays.
It is, yeah. It's not far to go. Yeah, well, I'm off shortly.
Oh yeah, where are you going this year?
Italy, never been
Oh,
before. Yeah,
nice. Very nice.
yep,
Is
new
your
new
son
place to
going
go.
with you?
So we got the two of us going. Daniel's coming, our son,
Okay.
and then we're going with another family and their 10-year-old boy. So
Oh,
be
nice.
six of us all together. Yeah,
Very
stay in
nice.
this little cottagey place somewhere
Ooh.
in the not near the beach. So but we got our
Oh.
own swimming pool and our own gym actually in the basement. So
Oh,
that's
wow.
that'll suit my son, and he'll get me doing some exercising as well, which won't hurt. So
No,
all good
no,
stuff.
amazing.
Yeah.
Are they experiencing some heat wave as well right now?
Yeah, I've started to just kind of track the temperatures. So they're averaging around mid 30s at the moment,
Oh, that's
although
not too bad.
it
That's all
does
right.
look as though it's got a bit less. It was sort of 37, 38. It's more like 32, 33 now. So
Oh, that's
I'm
good.
expecting that's what we'll be experiencing. So yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah, a bit like South Africa, I guess.
Mm. Oh
So
yeah, I mean, in Turkey it's 36 degrees at night right now.
yeah, oh well, yeah. Too much, eh? Too much.
God, too much. Yes. So we had a lucky escape. We almost went to Turkey this summer, but we are
Oh
not
well,
going
yeah,
to, because probably we would have ended up not going because of the Gatwick strikes or whatever.
yeah, indeed.
And if we
Yeah,
did go, we would end up going to a 45-degree temperature. So
yeah.
probably it was a good decision after all this year.
So if you wanna burn out, then that's the way to do it, isn't it? Go to a country like
Exactly.
that, and that'll give
Yeah.
you a real burnout as opposed to a
Literally,
workout.
yes.
Yeah,
Literally. You can't even stay in the sun. It was just horrendous. I
yeah,
have experienced it maybe once or twice, but it's
yeah.
just stay in the sun for like a couple of minutes. Your skin literally starts to burn. You can feel it.
Whoa, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
No, hottest I've been was I think 36. I laid out in this is in South Africa, so just
Right.
laying out the garden for about 10 minutes at that temperature, and that was
Mm.
it. And people thought
But
I was mad. Perhaps I
this
was.
time, yeah, this time last year we were having 38 degrees in the UK. Far cry from
Yes,
that now, isn't it?
yeah, and I think 4 years ago, yeah, it was that as well. Yeah, yeah, amazing.
Mm. Anyway, we're not here to talk about holidays as such, but we are
No,
we are
are we
here
here
to
to talk about the heat?
no, either, not either, not that either.
Okay, all right.
We are here to talk about what happens before we go on holiday. I think this was one of our podcasts a couple of years ago. We've
Yeah,
put out, and it was a very popular episode. And I wanted to bring it up again with new perspectives and new insights, I guess. Um, because if you are working full time or not even full time, working for yourself or anything, and
mm.
before you go on holiday, you have this race towards the deadline, the end before you go
Oh,
on holiday.
absolutely. Yeah, there's suddenly so much to be done in such a short space of time, and you have
That's
to get all
right.
this stuff done before you go. I know that. Yeah, I know that feeling.
I know and it just creates such a l- what's the word I'm looking for? False sense of urgency. Uh,
Mm.
I know there is a deadline, which is fine. You have to go on
Yeah,
holiday when you go have to go on holiday, but
sure. Yeah, yeah,
um, all of a sudden, all these things start to come up that you have to finish. The day before you decided to go on holiday, they didn't need to be finished, but all of a sudden they do need to be finished.
yeah.
And
Strange that. Yeah, I've experienced that, and executed and worked in that way. So yeah,
yes, and I think I've seen so many people go into this exact mode. I've seen myself going into this exact same mode,
yeah,
and I see my husband going into the same mode every
yeah,
year. And I think after a while, we've kind of wised up to the fact that, you know what, we need to wind down before we go on holiday, because what happens is you book a holiday for a week,
yeah.
let's say 10 days, whatever. And then by the time you actually got to the third day of your holiday, you only just managed to wind down and switch off from all that doing and all that executing, if you like. And
Yeah, yes, it takes. So it's not just a switch, is it? It's not like a light switch. You're
if
right.
only, yeah, if only
Mm.
it
Oh
was.
gosh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So your body starts to wind down, and then by the time you fully wound down and ready for your holiday, it's time to get back. And
Come on.
that is such a shame. If you're only having one full week of holiday in a year, we've got to do a little better than that, don't we? I think we deserve a little better than that.
Yeah, definitely. And until you actually stop and talk about it and think about it, you don't realize it really. You don't think about it, and you should say it's kind of too late. It takes you that time to wind down, and then you're back.
Yeah, and
kind of miss the best of things. It makes you feel maybe.
You do. Plus, what happens most of the time, especially in the winter time, like Christmas holidays and stuff, what happens? I used to get ill all the time.
Oh, right. Okay.
Literally, I'd finish on a Friday, whatever, and then by Sunday, I'd either have a cold or I'd feel so tired that I wouldn't be able to do anything.
Wow.
And it's just your body's response when everything is done and dusted and finished. You just have a big sigh of relief. And that big sigh of relief comes into this healing section, if you like, of that specific cycle, and you start to get ill. You start to feel the illness because you've let your guard down, if you like.
Well, yeah, that's strange. I mean, yeah, I've experienced that. I suppose I have felt ill when things have stopped and calmed down. After turbulent times, perhaps, and difficult times, maybe. That comes to an end. It's then that you kind of notice all the things that are not quite right, I suppose, or you think you have got things wrong with you that you hadn't really thought about before, I suppose.
Well, there's nothing really wrong with you as such. Let's just get that cleared.
Right. Well, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Why should there be just because you've stopped and slowed down?
Yeah, there is nothing wrong with you. It's just your body's way of responding to the change that has just happened, and your body basically is recovering from it. And it's not even an illness. It's actually what is called a healing phase in a certain Germany medicine, and it's actually a healing phase of your journey. First, you have this trigger. Oh my God, I have to go on holiday. Then I have to go do this, do all of these things, and then you just put yourself under a lot of stress, undue.
Yeah.
I might say, and as soon as it's over, then your body goes into healing, and then we take that as, oh, I'm ill, I'm poorly, and whatever, and you just kind of if you allowed it, and it's going to go away very, very quickly. But if you continue to just battle with it, then it's going to prolong even more. But anyway, we want to talk about the times leading up to the holidays. What's going through our minds generally? I mean, you've had the experience.
So I'm in that position now, really. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What are you trying to finish off then, Ian?
Well, I try to finish off. Well, we're trying to get organised with our podcast here.
We are.
There's definitely some things to get done and to make sure. Yeah, I still haven't sorted my travel insurance. I started looking at it in bed on my mobile phone at 11 o'clock last night and thought, no, I'm not going to go ahead with this. I'm going to look at it tomorrow. When I'm a bit more alert and whatever. So so I got that. I've got a few things to sort out. So I kind of quite organised working with lists and things like that and ticking stuff off. And but I'll tell you what the big thing with me is. I mean, I love traveling. I love going to new places. I like being the foreigner in the foreign country, if you like, and exploring new places that I haven't done and doing new things and new food and, just seeing stuff that I haven't done before. It's a sense of adventure for me. And I, under normal circumstances, really look forward to it. But I found just this time, for the first time, really, the administration of sorting things out. Like, there's been silly things with the car hire. Like, if you don't use a credit card and you use your debit card, we're going to charge you an extra €61, and you've got to pay £20 extra each day for, that you've actually got the car, just because you're not using it. You can't use a family member's card, and you can't use a friend's card, and it must be the person who's driving, and all this stuff. I just feel like I just feel like I want to get to the place where we're going and just get all this behind me. I actually got to the point where I thought, I wish we were just going to Cornwall for 2 weeks, because I can't be bothered with all this. No, they've got all that slog at the airport as well and everything.
Oh, God,
I just want to get to the place and start enjoying the holiday. But this admin has really actually got on top of me this time.
I understand what you're saying. I mean,
Okay,
actually,
I don't, but if you do, that's great.
it's good because when I go to Turkey, I feel the same. There's all these things to sort out, and I feel really stressed normally going to Turkey when I should be looking forward to it, to going back to
Yes,
see
yeah,
my family. The
it's
journey, just after 27 years of traveling, it just kind of really weighs me down. The traveling itself is just a
sure,
bit
yeah.
hard. Perhaps it's the
Mm.
age. I don't know.
Nah, nah, can't be.
But
Not
it's just,
loud.
yeah, it does weigh me down. But do you remember last year, just before, literally 2 days before I went on holiday, I lost my headphones,
Yes.
and
Oh,
our
yes, all that
kettle
business.
our kettle has broken,
Yes,
and
remember.
the weather was 38 degrees. I couldn't even get out of the house to do anything. It was so hot outside, and it was just like, oh my God, what was going on? But I think we learned from our lessons that, you know, there's this whole mountain of pressure in your head. I must
Mm,
finish this before I go on holiday.
yeah.
Well, it says who? Who decided you need to finish this before you go on holiday? And what happens if you don't? Is it the end of the
Yeah.
world? Is somebody
No,
gonna say, you know,
that's right. It's that sort of a cutting off point, and I must clear everything before I go type mentality. But you're right,
yeah,
actually just stop and think about it. Who's saying you have to, and why? And exactly what you've just said. What happens if you don't?
mm,
Probably nothing.
nothing. You know, most people go on holiday for a week or two maximum. What's going to
Yeah,
change within those 2 weeks in the grand
yeah,
scheme of things? You know,
that's right.
before
Yeah.
we become the slaves to all of this doing and all of these tasks and all of
Yeah.
these things that weighs us down,
Mm,
and in our mind creating all of this stress, like, what is the consequence of not doing this? You
mm,
know, what is the impact on other people? What is the impact on me? What, you know, and can someone else do it instead, or can I do it when I come back, or whatever it
yeah.
is? Just ask these kind of logical questions.
Mm,
Perhaps the answers will actually lead to, you know what, it doesn't matter, I can finish when I come back, or I can perhaps look at it with fresh eyes when I come back. Maybe I can
mm,
hand it over to this colleague who is not going on holiday, or
mm.
whatever it might be. It's just to stop and think for a minute rather than getting ourselves up into this big mountain to climb. Because what's really going to happen every single time is that when you do go on a holiday, you're not going to feel up to being on holiday. You're not going to be able to be present with your kids. You're not going to be able to do all the things you want to do because your body is literally just going to want to rest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's a shame, isn't it? Because the expectation that you've got in going is that you can do all this stuff and it's going to
Yeah.
be great, and then actually you're not geared up for it, are you? And
No, you're
you
not.
can't do it, and you just feel. I suppose we're now back into the cycle. Oh, I'm a failure. I've
Oh, God.
failed. Back around
That's
that
right.
cycle. I suppose we've talked about all this stuff
We
before,
did.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
how to get out of that silly cycle. Really,
And then
well, we'll
also,
call it a silly cycle. It's not when you're in it, but
but
yeah,
yeah, self-judgment starts. Oh, you're judging yourself by an expectation that you put on yourself, whether, necessarily or unnecessarily. So take away the judgment. I'm not there yet. I'm not ready. I'm not do this with, like, according to who and how did you decide that? And don't put so much pressure on yourself. There's no need for any of this. It's just, you know, do what you can,
mm,
finish what you need to finish, but determine what you need to finish in a logical way. It doesn't have to be finished then just because you said it needs to be finished by then,
yeah,
because it's just not the end of the world. And the chances are lots of other people are also on holiday and their minds aren't on this anyway. So unless it is a life or death situation or something really important,
yes,
then
of
it
course,
can
yeah.
actually wait.
Mm,
Most things can wait.
indeed, yeah, yeah, and that's that's something we miss in life, really, and that causes so much stress and anxiety, isn't it? Because
Mm,
I suppose in your mind you get to a point where I've got to do all this stuff that I know I haven't really got time to do, and it's not, I've only got one pair of hands, but I need six
mm.
pair of hands to do all this stuff, and it's you just feel like you've got no time for anything then, and I think that's an indication of stress, isn't it? And then nothing gets
Mm.
done. It's like I've said before,
Yeah,
at
get
work
into overwhelm. Yeah, that's
I
right.
had 20 tasks to do, but if I'm working on one, then it's no good because I'm not working on another 19, and you end up kind of not doing anything at all. And that's just, that's just nonsense. Because if you're working on any one thing, you're not working on all the others. So you feel bad about that, and you feel you should be doing something differently. But then when you're doing something differently, it doesn't change. Oh dear, what a state to get. But at the end of the day, I just want to go on holiday and enjoy it, and that's that's what I'm going to do. But you've got to be aware of all this potential nonsense that can crowd you before you go, and that's kind of what we're talking about today.
And as we said in our previous series of burnout, most of this burnout comes from all of this head overwhelm that we create in our heads, and then of course it manifests into your physical reality, but most of it is the pressure that we put on ourselves because of the self-judgment, because of comparisons, because of whatever else that we put on ourselves, and you kind of lose the energy and the willingness to do anything after a while, and you don't have to just find a holiday every time to recover from it. You're essentially recovering from the long haul of burnout when you go on holiday. Instead, make it something that you can enjoy as a family, because that's the time that you chose to be with your family and everything, and you can fully be present. And I was going to say, now it came back to me, you have to do all of, there's no have to. We choose what we get to do. Even when we are at work, even the job that you go to, even daily tasks, you get to choose which ones are priority, which ones are more important. We never really, time management is something that we learn at work so many times, but we shouldn't manage our time based on the tasks. We should manage it based on what's really important to you right now and what's the consequence of not doing that. And when you do that, you'll be committed to getting that done. It won't be a chore, and it won't burn you out, and it will be easy to do. And you'll get into a nice rhythm of doing that. So before the holidays, before the schools break up and everybody starts going on holiday, just please be gentle with yourself this week. We only got 2 days left. And perhaps we should have done this episode last week, but never mind, it's too late now.
Yeah, that's all right.
But be gentle.
You've got 2 days to do it. Come on, pressure's on. Oh no, sorry, that's not what we're saying.
But be gentle with yourself and get ready to have a great time, have the joy, have the peace by just being present, because those are the things that we can only feel when we are present. When we are not thinking, when we are not overdoing, when we are not in overwhelm. So I'll leave it at that, I think, for this week.
Okay, Chile, that's great. Good to have another chat. All valuable stuff. You mentioned we were talking about the weather and the heat. You mentioned burnout. You see, we got back to the heat wave, didn't we?
That's right, we did. Exactly.
There you go. It'll get sillier than that as the weeks go on, but it'll also be lots of good stuff as well. Yeah. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching on the YouTube channel, and we'll talk again next time.